Hey guys, it's Daniel and Mariah here.
And today we are going to be discussing 4 different questions we sometimes get when it comes to when we first met all the way to when we decided that we wanted to get engaged.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about these questions. I have them right here.
I'm really nervous.
You're nervous?
Again. Yeah.
Why?
Because it just feels intimidating, like 4 questions we're going to have to work through. And I don't know what's going to come from this, what kind of conversation, like...
Just questions about our story.
I can just see the fire in your eyes, so I'm not sure what's on the other side of those papers. But
No, okay,
anyways.
The first one's easy. It's a lob.
And then could I ask the second one?
Yeah,
I
you
think
can
that
ask
might
the
help
second one.
my nerves.
Okay, so the first one is, how did you guys meet?
How did we meet? Yeah, so I was about 22. I was starting my first job after I graduated from university, and I was going to a conference for work.
Yes.
And I saw you in the distance.
You saw
brown
me.
hair, beautiful smile, and I said, I want it. No.
I was in my skinny jeans era.
You were in and we had some mutual friends.
Yes.
And we kind of said, hey, what are you guys doing after this first session? You want to grab lunch together?
Yeah.
At that point, again, I was more connecting with the mutual friend than you. Because
Yes.
I didn't know you super well.
Yeah, we were kind of just meeting, obviously, yeah.
I secretly thought you were pretty.
Oh, really?
And I was like, oh, it'd be nice to go for lunch.
I did not secretly think you were handsome. I didn't tell you, but I told my friend.
Yeah, it wasn't a secret, you're saying?
Yeah, it wasn't a secret. Yeah.
But yeah, so we went for lunch, and we just had a good conversation. I remember seeing you as someone who loved family. I remember first hearing that you're the oldest of 6 kids.
Yes.
I was like, oh, she has to be something special. But I wasn't actually
That's my little fun
looking.
fact.
I wasn't like looking for a relationship because I was working, starting a brand new job. I was like kind of developing a program.
Yeah.
Like a leadership development kind of program. And I was pretty focused on that. But there was a lot of things that you said in our conversation that caught my attention.
Yes.
And I remember our mutual friend said that you were the best Christian she's ever met. And I remember thinking like, well, my first thought was, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
My second thought was, you must be a special human because I heard that.
Yeah.
Anyways, we went for that lunch. We had good conversations.
Yes.
And that conference was amazing.
Yeah.
And
so,
but it wasn't as good as the thing that came from the conference.
our relationship?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
from my point of view, I was 20 years old at the time, kind of in the midst of university, going to a conference with a friend, and met you. At the time, I thought you must be in your late 20s because you looked quite old and mature.
Yeah. I was just old and weathered.
You,
Old, weathered.
no,
Graying,
he looks
maybe.
younger almost than you did back then.
It's
I
like
don't know what it was.
What's that movie?
Benjamin Button.
Curious Case of
Benjamin Button.
He
Yeah, you like
aged.
reverse in
Yeah.
age. But anyways, and then he said to me, I'm 22. And I was like, what? Because I was 20, so we're close in age. And I remember just being so amazed at like what you said and how you conducted yourself. And really excited to be friends with you. I remember that. I said to my friend after, I want to be like best friends with that guy.
Yeah. Let
Okay,
me ask the second one.
question.
Again, as my nerves settle down, this will be really
You
helpful.
seem a little bit more comfortable, relaxed.
How did your relationship evolve from like talking to dating?
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that this person meant like talking is like kind of figuring out each other.
You're interested.
Asking questions you're interested
Yeah.
in. And dating is like becoming official, like boyfriend, girlfriend, putting a title on it.
Yeah.
And being exclusive in that.
Yeah.
What would you say?
So our story is a little bit different, I feel like, than most because our talking stage was quite long.
Yeah.
Because it was intentional.
Yeah.
We really did not want to waste our time in another dating relationship that didn't result in marriage.
Yeah, we both came from pretty long-term relationships, like 2.5 to 3.5 years, respectively.
That obviously we ended in a breakup, and we didn't want to go through that again. We really wanted to get married, and we wanted to meet the person we were going to marry, and so we chose to spend a long time talking. And by a long time, I mean we met at the end of September, and we didn't start dating till the next year, July.
Yeah.
So that's how long, I don't know how many months that is, but a while.
Yeah. So just under a year of
Yeah.
like talking, hanging out. Like we went on dates.
Yeah.
But we just didn't make it official. The other thing was like I was really wanting to focus on my career.
Yes.
In that first year.
Yeah.
Out of university, and so I wanted to spend some time just like really building the program that I was starting and yeah, that's what that looked like.
So eventually, as we were talking, we did take a point where we actually didn't talk at all for 2 months, but we'll make a separate video on that because it was intentional. It was like a good break, not a bad break. But as we were talking and getting to know each other, we kind of came to a point where we were just sure about dating and taking that next step forward. Obviously, it's still a risk as you take each step forward, but we were willing to take that risk. And that's because our values were really aligned. Yeah. Our futures were really aligned.
And the key part of that too was like, I feel like we were pretty intentional with inviting community.
Yeah,
like,
and family.
Like close friends, family, mentors into our decision-making process. Yeah. Because I think that the heart is deceitful. Like sometimes you can just be caught up in the emotions of the bowling. Like we're going bowling together and we're having these cute like movie nights and we're going out for dinner and it can feel like almost like a rapturous experience.
I love how of all of our dates you just pointed out bowling.
I don't know why, but that date just stood out to me in the moment. But it's just like all that to say is that sometimes we have like these exciting date nights.
Yes.
And we think that that's all that needs to like the feelings that come with those date nights that are kind of all we need to feel in order to make a comprehensive decision as to our life partner, but there's so much that goes on in a relationship that you're going to be in with someone for life that those things sometimes don't even give you a percentage of what you need to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was for us, but
and so that's kind of unique to us, but we would recommend it for other people to take a long time before you start becoming official, because when you become official, it just it just changes things. I feel like you don't have as much, like if you become official too early, it's hard to like figure out the stuff you need to figure out because there's pressure and like I need to make this work because we're dating. We can only date for like 2 months and then break up.
Yeah,
right?
I do think that in that period of like talking to dating, something that everyone should consider is somehow infusing kind of like mechanisms into your relationship that remove emotion. Like emotion is important. And I think that we're given the emotion of fear, for example, to like not do things that are gonna
hurt us,
kill us or hurt us. And like I think we're given emotions in relationships that help us discern, okay, is this someone I can build a life with or not? Yeah. But I think that sometimes emotions can get in the way of some decisions that should be more logical. Yeah. So there's a few things that we did that kind of set us up for that. I think that we did a video in the past about the 2 months of silence that we took within that first year of talking that helped us. Like it's basically 2 months where we didn't talk to each other at all. Yeah. Where we just like took some time to pray, talk to mentors, journal, reflect on the relationship, reflect on what we wanted in a future partner. And once we reflected on that, we kind of put the respective person up against that to see if the person is actually fulfilling the things that we want in a future partner. I think something that I love that we did as well was we did like boring dates.
Yeah, we like went grocery shopping, went to the gym,
or pick up furniture or whatever.
And you also like, if you learn a lot about someone when you grocery shop with them. Yeah. Because we had pretty different styles of grocery shopping. And so those things you want to figure out, right? Yeah. But Okay, next question. You want to
ask us question 3?
All right, the next question is, how did you know that they were the right one? So obviously you can have a lot of like relationships with people, but what stands out about the person that you end up marrying? Yeah. For me, a big thing that stood out to me with my relationship with you is that I just always wanted to be talking to you. I always wanted to be around you. I always wanted to be in contact with you. Yeah.
And we're both, because I felt that as well. Yeah. And we're both not like clingy people when it comes to relationships.
Yeah, we're both pretty like, independent. Yeah. And so that to me was like, I don't know, I guess you could have that with a lot of people, but I think it's concerning if you don't have that. Yeah, yeah. It's important to have that. You should be like always wanting, like especially at the beginning, like dating's supposed to be like fun and you're falling in love and like it should be exciting that way.
Yeah, I remember there was like points where I was working, you were working, I was in school, you were in school. I remember at that time you were working a serving job, so there's times where you're getting off at midnight. Yeah. And so we would talk from as soon as you got home till probably about 3 a.m. Yeah. Just because we were so just in love and we loved talking to each other.
Yeah, I remember like even towards the end of those calls, we wouldn't even really be talking anymore. We just like didn't want to hang up.
Just be sitting in each other's presence. It's funny, it felt like we were like
So
13
funny.
or 14 again.
Yeah.
Just like, no, you hang up first.
Yeah, literally. And then we'd have to like go to work or go to school the next day, wake up at 8 and
Just back to it.
yeah. But
just
we had the energy for
4.5 hours of sleep every night.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so I'd say that like you want to be able to enjoy the presence of the person.
Yeah.
Whether it be like on a phone call or FaceTime or in person, you want to enjoy this person's company.
Yeah.
I would also say that for me, I knew because I saw every version of what you could have become as an employee or as a business owner or as a leader, as a wife, as a mother, and every version that I could picture of you based on what I knew of your values and your convictions, I liked and I wanted to be a part of. And so that was something that I held on to where I'm like, oh no, this is the person. Like, and that in partnership with like even talking to mentors and family members and parents and close friends and really like bouncing things off them. Because I do think that it's so important to invite other voices into your relationship to be able to speak to it. People who know you, who know relationships, who have some experience. To help you see clearly amidst the emotions and the inertia of the relationship.
And it sounds kind of serious for like just a dating relationship, but it's like you're not looking for a Friday night hangout. You're looking for someone to spend your life with, right?
Exactly,
and so I think it's okay to approach it with a level of seriousness, a level of looking towards the future. And like, I think one thing also that was important that I knew you'd be the right one for me is that not only did our values align and we had fun together and all that stuff and our families agreed, but we also, our lives were going in the same direction.
Yeah.
And I think you can meet really amazing, great people, but their life is going in a different direction than yours is. And that might mean you're not a great match together.
Yeah.
But for me and you, because we were going in the same direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And values surrounding like economics and business to politics, to religion, to what does it look like to raise a family, like we lined up about.
Yeah.
And like obviously like there's like sub topics that we would disagree on or see things, but the major things we were lining up on, which was like a key kind of green flag for both of us, I'd say. Yeah.
Do you want to ask the last
Yeah,
question?
I would love to ask the last question actually.
Okay.
So the question is, when did you start talking about getting engaged? And what were some of the signs that you knew it was time?
So we started talking about getting engaged pretty early on because we took dating so seriously.
Yeah.
So we started dating, 6 months later we got engaged. And for us, a big part of that was saying, I love you. I think once we said that to each other after we started dating, we kind of knew, okay, this means a lot, because for me, I love you meant I want to stand by you through everything. I'm not going anywhere. It wasn't just a feeling. It was so much more of that. It was more of a commitment.
Yeah. Like I would say like in the broader, like I guess structure of our relationship, it was almost like the time where we were talking was more like the dating.
Yeah.
And then the time that we were dating was more like engagement, especially because of our dating phase was so short. It kind of blended with the engaged kind of stage. That like, it felt like in that time of talking, we were asking a lot of the questions that we felt like we needed to ask in that phase. And then by the time we got to engagement, it was like, or the time we got to dating, it was almost like we're engaged. We're talking wedding, we're reading books together on marriage. And we're trying to strengthen the foundation that we're going to build eventually a marriage on top of. Right?
Yes. Yeah. So I think those things. Any other signs that we were ready? I feel like our families were really on board.
Yeah, I'd say like the people around us really were like for it.
Yeah.
And really saw that on both sides there was a lot to be celebrated.
Yeah.
And coming together was even more of a positive thing.
Yeah.
So I'd say that was key.
Even just timing, like I was in school, and then like I feel like when you're young and you're getting married, you kind of base a lot of like when you're going to get engaged and when you're going to get married on when people are done school.
Yeah, and that doesn't necessarily have to be the case.
No, but
sometimes it works.
It works for us. So I was in school. I was finished in early August, and we got married at the end of August. Yeah.
And there's other things that I kind of based it around like finances. Like there was a ring that I wanted to get for you, and then planning a wedding, moving in together, all that requires expenses. So I was very much so mindful of my financial goals, our financial goals, spiritual readiness. Like I wanted to know who I was as a Christian before bringing you into it, because I believe that a part of my role in the relationship is helping lead you towards what a faithful kind of following Jesus could look like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think that all those things kind of conflating together made us realize, like, okay, everything feels like it's clicking. And it's almost like with parenting, it's like there's never a time, like people always say, there's never a time where you'll be perfectly ready for parenting.
Yeah,
there's
you
never
kind
gonna
of
be a
just got
time
to
where
take the
you'll be
leap.
perfectly ready for marriage, but there is a time where you're like, okay, I'm as good as I'm gonna be, kind of thing, or we're as ready as we're gonna be, and we feel like we have some of the key tools in place that is gonna aid us in this next step.
And sorting things out together, it's fun to look back on it.
Yeah, those were good questions. They weren't as scary as I thought they would be.
I'm glad.
I'm glad we overcame that.
Yeah, me too.
But I would love to hear your thoughts, if you have any, on this conversation.
Yeah.
There was a lot that we covered. Would love to hear your feedback on maybe even our process. Also, if you have any other follow-up questions for us, we'd love to take a look at those as well.
Yes.
Thanks so much for watching.
Yes, and please make sure to like and subscribe. We'd love to keep having you around, and we will see you next week. Stop recording on your